What's up, everyone? EJ here, and welcome to the I Am Project, where I simply hope to spark a bit of curiosity when it comes to the topic of consciousness. Today, I want to talk about the hidden cost of complaining and why you need to stop doing it. So, let's start with a quick question. How many times have you complained today? If you're like most people, you probably have no idea. And that's exactly the problem we need to talk about. So here's the truth. Most of us are walking around complaining all day long without even realizing it. Complaining has become so normal, so automatic, that we don't even recognize we're doing it. It's just part of everyday conversation. Think about it. How many of these sound familiar? This traffic sucks. I hate Mondays. The weather's awful. My boss is annoying. I'm so tired. This line is taking forever, etc., etc. And it doesn't stop there. We complain about politicians, celebrities, family members, neighbors, co-workers. We've turned complaining into a hobby. Most of the time, we don't even notice we're doing it. And so how the complaining actually creates your reality. This is where things get interesting. There's real science behind why your words matter so much. You probably heard of the observer effect from quantum mechanics. Basically, it shows that the act of observing something actually influences what you're observing. This isn't just physics, it applies to your daily life too. When you complain, you're not just passively describing what's happening around you, you're actively choosing what to focus on and amplifying it. Every time you complain, you're strengthening the pathways in your brain to notice negative things. You're literally training your brain to see more problems. Think of it this way. Complaining is like negative manifestation. Every thought and word carries energy. When you constantly voice complaints, you're sending a clear signal about what you're focusing on. And here's the kicker. Where your attention goes, your energy flows. So complaining directs all of your creative energy towards exactly what you don't want. It becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. Your complaints prime your subconscious mind to look for evidence that proves your negative statement right. You're creating the very reality you're complaining about. So what does complaining do to your brain and body? All right, let's talk about what's happening inside you every time you complain. Your brain is physically changing. Complaining rewires your neural pathways, making it easier and easier for neurons to fire negatively in the future. Every single complaint triggers the release of cortisol, your stress hormone. This floods your brain with chemicals that damage the neurons in your hippocampus, the part of your brain responsible for memory and problem solving. Basically, complaining makes you worse at thinking clearly and remembering things. Your brain already has a negative bias. It's naturally wired to focus on threats. Complaining amplifies this bias until it's completely out of control. Your physical health also suffers. Chronic complaining raises your blood pressure and heart rate. It weakens your immune system. It triggers inflammation throughout your entire body. It even shortens your telomeres, the protective caps on your chromosomes, which means complaining is literally making you age faster. Your mental and emotional health also decline. Regular complaining reinforces the exact thought patterns associated with depression and anxiety. It creates learned helplessness, this sense that you're powerless and nothing you do matters. It depletes your mental resources, so when real challenges come up, you have nothing left to deal with them. And here's something most people don't even realize. Negativity spreads. When you complain, you're spreading that negativity to everyone around you, and it comes right back to you. Now, the venting trap. Now, I know that some of you might be thinking, but I have to vent. It's healthy to let it out. Let me be clear. That is a myth. I'll say it again. Venting is a myth. We've been told that venting is good for us. That's a healthy emotional release. And yes, You might feel a little better for a few minutes after you vent, but that temporary relief comes at a massive long-term cost. You can call it venting if you want, but it doesn't change what's actually happening in your brain and in your energy field. Venting is just complaining with a different label. And here's the thing, it doesn't solve anything. You're just focusing on the problem over and over and over again without moving towards any solutions. There's this energy paradox at work. Whatever you fight, you feed. Every time you vent, you're giving more attention and energy to the exact thing you want to get rid of. You're strengthening these neural pathways. You're making the problem more vivid and more real in your experience. So what you vocalize grows. And socially, venting creates toxic patterns. Many friendships are built entirely on shared complaints. You're seeking validation, which just reinforces the negative perspective. Sometimes it even becomes competitive. Who has it worse? When you're surrounded by people who normalize complaining, it becomes almost impossible to break the habit. And you're creating your own prison. Here's a hard truth. Most of the stress in your life is created by ourselves through complaining. When you complain, you're positioning yourself as a victim, powerless against external circumstances. You're not just responding to the stress, you're actively generating it. Complaining keeps you stuck in this mental loop, rehearsing problems over and over and over again instead of moving forward. Your body doesn't know the difference. It responds to the scenarios you're complaining about as if they were happening right now. You're also building mental barriers. Complaining reinforces a fixed mindset, the belief that circumstances can't change. It binds you to opportunities and solutions. It blinds you from opportunities and solutions. Over time, your complaints become part of your identity, part of your story, about who you are. These repeated complaints turn into deeply held beliefs about yourself and the world. You probably see that now, especially on the news. And it's exhausting, right? Your attention is a finite resource. Every bit of mental energy you spend complaining is energy that's not available for anything creative or productive. Complaining drains your vitality, erodes your motivation, and dulls your ability to experience joy. You're running on empty. But the good thing here is you have a choice. All right, there's good news. You have the choice to decide. You always had the choice. The first step is just becoming aware. Notice when you complain. Notice how often it happens. Start recognizing the patterns. What triggers your complaints? What themes keep coming up? What phrases do you use over and over again? Create pause between what happens and how you respond. That pause reveals your power. A good example here is like a lot of people just kind of speak, and they just kind of let the complaint out instead of giving themselves a few seconds just to realize what they're about to say. Very powerful pause. And listen, this isn't about blaming yourself. It's about taking responsibility without judgment. It's about recognizing that you have a role in creating your experience. Here's something critical to understand. Events are neutral. What happens is just what happens. You're the one who decides if it's positive or negative. You can't always control your circumstances, but you can always control your response. Always. 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 Get that one in your head. You always control your response. The same situation can be viewed a dozen different ways. Complaining is just one option, and it's the worst one. When you accept that your words shape your reality, you take your power back. And here's a solution. Stop complaining. This is going to sound almost too simple, but stop complaining is one of the most transformative things you can do. Why? Because it's accessible to everyone. You don't need special training or equipment. You can start right now, literally in the next moment. It affects every single area of your life at once. You can actually measure your progress, and success with this one habit builds momentum for every other positive change you want to make. When you stop complaining, mental clarity emerges. Your thinking becomes clear. Your emotions stabilize. People respond different to you. They're drawn to your energy. You start noticing opportunities you couldn't see before. And all that mental and emotional energy you were wasting, it becomes available for actually building the life you want. So how do we actually do this? Let me give you guys some simple action plans. Start with the 1 week of just noticing. Don't try to change anything yet. Just count your complaints. Notice when they're happening, what triggers them, how your body feels when you complain. Write down what you discover, right? This is a perfect time just to be treat it as a scientist, and you're observing yourself. Then commit to a 21-day challenge without complaining. This is a real challenge, right? If you slip up, you start over for day 1. You can use physical reminders. For example, wear a bracelet or a rubber band, and every time you complain, just switch it to the other hand. Just to keep you reminded, or pretty much anything that you can think of. When you feel complaint coming up, replace it. State a neutral fact instead, or say something you're grateful for. Find someone to do this with you. That's actually one of the best ones. Find a friend that you can do this with, to share, who can keep you on track and can call you out. Very useful. Going forward, make it a practice. When you talk about challenges, immediately follow it with what you can do about it. For every single difficulty, identify 3 things that are working well. If you catch a complaint forming, count backwards from 5 and choose a different response. Excuse yourself from conversations that are just complaint sessions. Actively look for things to appreciate and say them out loud. It's all about being aware, all right? It's just about being aware. Your new reality. When you commit to practice, everything changes. Your default mental states become more positive and peaceful. Challenges feel manageable because you're not adding the weight of complaints on top of them. Your relationships improve, and people want to be around you. You experience yourself as a creator, not a victim. The things you actually want to start showing up faster because you're focusing on your energy on them instead of on the problem. Let me read that one again. The things you actually want start showing up faster because you're focusing your energy on them instead of the problem. Read that one better. Your physical health improves measurably. You're gonna see this and you're gonna feel it. You become genuinely empowered. And here's the bottom line. Not complaining isn't about toxic positivity. It's about pretending problems. It's not about pretending problems don't exist or denying your reality. It's about refusing to give your creative energy to what you do not want. It's one of the simplest shifts you can make, and it's one of the most profound. And it starts with your next words. So, again, I encourage everybody just to try. Become aware of your day-to-day. Jot it down. Observe yourself. Become conscious of yourself. And I guarantee you, just eliminating complaints in your day, you're gonna feel a lot better in health and in spirit. It's just so easy, but at the same time so hard, because like we've talked about, we've ingrained these habits into us, so we got to weed them out. But that's all for today, guys. I hope some of this was useful for at least one of you guys. Please like, subscribe if that's the case, and until next time.